truthfully, have you ever found yourself in that position? Not being able to understand the essence of PSAK 16 no matter how much you read about it? If yes, don't worry, because you have come to the right video. Let us welcome you to your guide for PSAK 16.
Your guide to PSAK 16.
Before that, get to know us, your PSAK trio. I'm Angelica Alfonsus.
I'm Evelyne. And I'm Synvia.
Today, we will talk about PSAK 16 fixed asset. Now, without further ado, let's start, shall we?
So, as you guys already know, every organization needs fixed assets to operate, no matter if they are a merchandising, service, or manufacturing company. Fixed assets can be in the form of buildings for the office, or maybe the vehicle to deliver goods, or maybe the computer to do the data recording. The accounting treatment to these fixed assets is regulated in IFRS. And in Indonesia, we have PSAK 16 on fixed asset, which is the adaptation on IFRS. Okay, now we have changed our attires and we are ready to be your PSAK 16 guide. So, when you want to understand PSAK, you need to understand the main ideas in this PSAK. For PSAK 16, we got 6 main ideas. The first one, fixed asset recognition. The second one, fixed asset expenditure. The third one, measurement of fixed asset. The fourth one, depreciation of fixed asset. The fifth one, retirement and disposal of fixed asset. And then the last one, presentation and disclosure of fixed asset. For these 6 points, we will explain it one by one. We will use our PowerPoint to better visualize this. What is fixed asset? Fixed assets are tangible assets which is held for use in the production or supply of goods or services for renting out purposes to other parties or for administrative purposes. It's expected to be used for more than one period. Next, the classifications of fixed asset. There is land, building, machine, vehicle, and equipment. Now, we'll get into the first point of PSAK, that is fixed asset recognition. So, PSAK states fixed assets are recognized when it is probable that the economic benefits associated with the asset will flow into the company, and the cost of the asset can be measured reliably.
Okay, now we move to the second point, fixed asset expenditure. Fixed asset expenditure are all costs incurred to extend the useful life of fixed assets, such as repairs that are relevant to company buildings. Now we move to the third point, measurement of fixed assets. Measurement when recognizing fixed assets. The cost components according to PSAK number 16, paragraph 16 include the tax price, including import duties and non-creditable purchases after deducting discounts and other discounts. The second one is any costs that are directly attributable to bringing the asset to the location and condition necessary for it to be ready for use in accordance with management's intentions. Measurement after recognition of fixed assets. According to PSAK 16, paragraph 30 until 31, after acquisition there are 2 methods of accounting for the property, plant, and equipment. These 2 methods are, the first one is cost method. The cost model is the model we are familiar with, namely after initial recognition. Property, plant, and equipment are recorded at cost less accumulated depreciation and accumulated impairment losses. The second one is revaluation method. After recognition as an asset, property, plant, and equipment whose fair value can be measured reliably are carried at the revaluation amount, which is the fair value at the revaluation date less accumulated depreciation and any accumulated impairment losses after the revaluation date.
And now for the point 4, the depreciation of fixed asset. Depreciation is the systematic allocation of the value of a fixed asset into a burden. Depreciation expense is a burden that doesn't cost cash expenditures. In PSAK 16 paragraph 55, states that depreciation of an asset begins when the asset is ready for use. That is, when the asset is at the location and condition necessary for the asset to be ready for use in accordance with the management intention. The 3 most commonly used methods for calculating the depreciation of fixed assets that are straight line method, units of production method, and double declining balance method. And then for the point 5, that is the retirement and disposal of fixed assets, PSAK 16 states fixed assets terminated recognitions at the time of release or at a time when no future economic benefit is expected from its use or release. And for the last point, that is point 6, the presentation and disclosure of fixed assets. Fixed assets are presented in the amount of the value of the book, that is the acquisition price minus the accumulated depreciation and accumulated loss of impairment. Disclosure of fixed assets in financial statements is an explanation of the fixed asset cost in the financial statement. We believe you guys already understand about the theory of PSAK 16. Now we will give you a real-life example of how a company can implement PSAK 16. So, the company that we choose is Sulutgo Bank Limited, which stands for Sulawesi Utara Gorontalo Bank. Until June 2021, Bank Sulutgo already has one head office, one main branch office, 25 branch office, 25 sub-branch office, and 248 ATM and CDM. Now, we will start to look at the implementation of PSAK 16.
In terms of recognition of fixed assets, Sulutgo Bank Limited have fixed assets consisting of buildings, furniture, motor vehicles, office equipment, and hardware. Sulutgo Bank Limited has two ways of acquiring fixed assets, namely purchase in cash. This way of acquisition is used for movable assets. At Sulutgo Bank Limited, before they buy an asset, they made a planning for the purchase of a fixed asset. Next, for self-constructed asset. If a fixed asset is self-constructed, then the cost to build the asset is the cost for building permits, cost for architects, cost for raw materials, cost for workers, and payments for contractors. Sulutgo Bank Limited recognized their assets by determining their benefit to the company and how much they can support the operational activities of the company. So, we can conclude that in this point, Sulutgo Bank Limited has followed the guide from their company and is in accordance to PSAK 16.
Expenditures after acquisition of fixed asset. At Sulutgo Bank Limited, expenses after obtaining fixed asset carried out by Sulutgo Bank Limited in order to extend the life and benefits of the performance of fixed assets. Based on observation from Sulutgo Bank Limited, the fixed asset measurement that is conducted by Sulutgo Bank Limited for the company's operational activities is total cost incurred by Sulutgo Bank Limited in obtaining fixed asset for the company's operation consists of motor vehicle, car vehicle, office equipment, furniture, hardware, and also buildings. In the company's accounting policy, it is stated that expenses to increase the useful life and economic life of fixed assets are classified into capital expenditure and capitalized by debiting the corresponding account, and we think that this is in accordance to PSAK 16 because the company should capitalize capital expenditure.
Next, we have the depreciation of fixed assets. Based on the observation and data management from Sulutgo Bank Limited, they use two depreciation methods. The first one is the straight line method, which is applied in calculating the depreciation of buildings. And the second one is declining balance method, which is used in calculating the depreciation of movable assets in the form of vehicles. Sulutgo Bank Limited has compiled with the application of PSAK 16 where fixed assets which have been depreciated separately. Fixed asset depreciation cost included in the income statement as an element of cost and accumulated depreciation entered in the balance sheet on the debit side, which reduced the total amount of fixed assets.
Retirement and disposal of fixed assets. Based on observations, fixed assets in Sulutgo Bank Limited are retired if the asset is damaged due to disaster, fire, stolen or expired or out of service period, or cannot be depreciated again. Fixed assets that have gone past its useful life but can still be used in the company's operational activities, the book value is set at 1 rupiah, and the fixed asset can no longer be depreciated. According to PSAK 16, disposal of fixed asset can be done by sales of assets, rent, or donated. At Sulutgo Bank Limited, one way they dispose the fixed asset is to sell it. Disposal of fixed asset in Sulutgo Bank Limited is done by auction, both to internal parties like the company employees and to the general public. with the appeal that they can obtain a more favorable price of their fixed asset. For example, for service houses and motor vehicles, the payment can be in cash or in credit, especially for employees. The gain that arises from this transaction is recognized in the income statement of company. So, in disposal of fixed asset, Sulut Go Bank Limited is in accordance to PSAK 16.
Disclosure of fixed asset. In disclosure of fixed asset, there are some practices that are already in accordance with PSAK 16, and there are some that haven't complied with it. First, the company presents the same amount of fixed asset as their book value, which is the cost of the asset less accumulated depreciation. That is in accordance with PSAK 16. Second, PSAK 16 requires that disclosure of fixed asset in the company is stated directly in the balance sheet and in the form of notes to financial statement, and the company follows this rule. PSAK number 16 also required to disclose the basis of the valuation like useful lives or depreciation rates used so that the gross carrying amount can be determined. However, Sulut Go Bank Limited does not disclose it, so this is wrong according to PSAK 16.
So, in conclusion, in general, in accounting activities, especially in the management of fixed assets, Sulut Go Bank Limited in principle is already according to PSAK 16 in terms of valuation or measurements, issuance of assets, depreciation of fixed assets, termination and disposal of fixed assets, even the presentation and disclosure of fixed assets. The second one, it is less informative in identifying fixed assets in the list of fixed assets. The useful lives and usage of fixed assets are combined in one list even though they were obtained in different years.